Welcome to the Stoic Golden Tribe, where enduring wisdom meets the strength of presence, and where we uncover the truths modern society refuses to teach men. There's a quiet pain that too many men carry, one they rarely speak about. It's the pain of being unseen, unheard, and disrespected by the very woman they've given their heart to, and yet they stay. They hope, they think, if I just love her more, maybe she'll finally see my worth. But let me tell you something hard and honest. Love without respect is the slowest kind of heartbreak. In a world that teaches men to prove their value through sacrifice, many have forgotten one powerful truth passed down from ancient times. A man who honors himself will never remain where he is dishonored. This video is not about bitterness. It's not about hatred. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about seeing the truth clearly and understanding why the first step to freedom is not trying to change her, but detaching from her when respect is no longer in the room. In this journey, you will learn the hidden signs of a woman's quiet disrespect, why many men stay trapped in unhealthy dynamics, how to use ancient wisdom to reclaim your masculine presence, and the deep emotional strength it takes to walk away, not in anger, but in power. This isn't just relationship advice. It's a guide for your emotional evolution as a man. If you've ever felt unseen in your relationship, if you've ever questioned your worth because of how a woman treated you, then this message is for you. Because you don't just deserve love, you deserve love rooted in respect. Comment below. What's the hardest part about walking away from someone you love, but who no longer respects you? Your story might help another man find his strength. And before we dive in, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with a brother who needs to hear it. You're not alone in this. The tribe stands with you. Chapter 1. The subtle ways a woman shows. She no longer respects you. Respect doesn't always vanish in a dramatic moment. It fades slowly, with silences, glances, dismissive comments, until one day you realize you're no longer the man she looks up to. And here's what's dangerous. Most men miss the signs because they confuse a woman's presence with her devotion. But a woman can still share your bed and have no respect for your soul. Let's break this down. Because when a woman loses respect for a man, she doesn't always shout it, she shows it. 1. She tests your boundaries and laughs when you enforce them. One of the first signs of lost respect is when she starts testing your limits. She'll cancel plans last minute, interrupt you when you're speaking, mock your opinions, or make jokes that feel like little stabs to your pride. And when you speak up, she brushes it off. Relax, you're too sensitive. Don't take it so seriously. But deep down, you feel it. The subtle erosion of your authority, your masculine core being dismissed in front of your eyes. Remember, when a woman no longer fears losing you, she will test to see if she can remake you. 2. She stops seeking your guidance or input. A woman who respects you will naturally want your opinion. She'll ask you what you think, seek your leadership, and trust your perspective. Not because she's weak, but because she admires your strength. But when respect is gone, that admiration turns into silent resistance. She starts making decisions without you, not because she's independent, but because she doesn't see your presence as necessary anymore. And that shift, it's devastating, because you feel like just a guest in her life. 3. She argues to win, not to understand. Disagreements are natural, but when a woman starts fighting to dominate rather than connect, it's a red flag. Suddenly, it's not about solving the issue, it's about proving you wrong, breaking you down and making you feel less than. She'll bring up the past. She'll use your vulnerabilities against you. She won't listen, she'll just wait to respond. Why? Because when respect is lost, so is empathy. And without empathy, love becomes war. 4. She no longer cares about how you feel. A woman in love will notice your silence. A woman who respects you will care when something's off. She'll ask, "What's wrong?" She'll sit beside you even when you don't want to talk. But when that respect fades, She'll walk right past your pain. She'll see you suffering and offer sarcasm instead of support. Your emotional world becomes invisible to her. And yet, you stay. Because part of you remembers who she used to be. But that version of her? She only existed because she respected the man you were. The truth every man must face. Men often try to earn back a woman's respect by chasing, explaining, or pleading. But here's the truth. You can't beg someone to value what they've already decided to ignore. A man's power isn't in trying harder. It's in realizing when the battle is not worth fighting and when the battlefield is inside your own soul. You must become the kind of man who says, if you no longer see me, I will not lower myself just to remain visible. Drop a comment below. Have you ever stayed longer than you should have with someone who stopped seeing your worth? Chapter 2. Why men stay. Even when respect is gone, you would think that when a woman no longer respects a man, the answer is simple: leave. But for many men, it's not that easy. Why? Because walking away doesn't just mean leaving her. It means facing yourself. It means confronting the silence inside, the fears, the wounds, the need to be validated by someone who's already shown you they don't see your value. This is where the real struggle begins. Not in the relationship, but in the identity we build around it. 1. Men are conditioned to endure, not to feel. From a young age, men are taught, be strong, be silent, be loyal, stick it out. So when a relationship starts breaking you down, you don't run, you hold on. You tell yourself, it's just a phase. Or worse, maybe it's my fault. You tolerate the disrespect. You rationalize the coldness. You ignore your gut. But brother, strength is not staying where you're being torn apart. Real strength is walking away from what wounds you, even when it hurts to let go. 2. You're hooked on who she used to be. One of the most dangerous emotional traps for a man is falling in love with her potential, or her past self. You remember the early days, the affection, the admiration, the way she looked at you like you were the only man in the world. But people change, and sometimes the version of her that respected and adored you doesn't exist anymore. Still you wait, you think, maybe if I just stay loyal, she'll come back. But here's the truth. Loyalty to a memory will keep you trapped in a present that's killing you. You can't fix something alone. You can't revive what the other person has already buried. 3. You think her validation will heal you. Many men attach their self-worth to how a woman sees them. So when she starts disrespecting you, pulling away, or talking down to you, and you take it personally, you think, what did I do wrong? And then you try harder. You buy gifts. You apologize for things you didn't even do. You lower your standards just to keep the peace. But the more you chase her respect, the more she loses it. Because women don't admire a man who abandons himself to win her approval. They admire a man who stands so firm in who he is, he's willing to walk alone if needed. 4. You're afraid of the silence after she's gone. Here's the real reason most men don't leave. It's not the woman they're afraid to lose, it's the void she'll leave behind. You fear the nights without her voice, the quiet mornings, the empty bed. But what if that silence is not your enemy? What if that silence is the space where your healing begins? Because in that stillness, you'll hear something you've been drowning out for far too long. Your own voice. And that voice? It's the one that says, I matter, I deserve peace. I'm not less of a man for choosing myself. Drop a comment below. What kept you holding on to someone who stopped treating you right? Chapter 3. The Art of Emotional Detachment, Reclaiming Your Power with Ancient Masculine Wisdom. There comes a moment in every man's journey where he must ask himself, am I staying because I'm loved, or because I'm afraid of being alone? Detachment is not bitterness, it's not coldness, it's not pretending she didn't matter. It's the courageous decision to say, I matter too. But emotional detachment doesn't happen by accident. It requires awareness, strength, and the kind of wisdom that ancient men lived by, wisdom that modern society has buried under comfort, codependency, and silence. So how do you detach from a woman who no longer respects you? Let's go deep. 1. Understand the difference between attachment and love. The first step is understanding what you're truly holding on to. Are you holding on to love or attachment? Love says, I see you, I value you, and I want to grow with you. But attachment says, I fear being without you. I need you to feel whole. I'll sacrifice myself to keep you close. When a woman no longer respects you and you still stay, chances are you're not holding on to her love. You're holding on to your own emotional survival. But ancient wisdom tells us this. A man who cannot sit alone in silence has not yet mastered himself. Real men don't cling. They choose. And if what they choose begins to poison their spirit, they walk away, not because they feel nothing, but because they honor their soul more than their suffering. 2. Rebuild the masculine frame. She no longer sees. Women are instinctively drawn to a man who is rooted in his purpose, his direction, and his discipline. When that frame breaks through over-attachment, emotional dependence, or loss of self, respect evaporates. So how do you rebuild it? You stop revolving your life around her and start revolving it around your mission. You remember who you were before you met her, what made you powerful, what gave you focus, what made you magnetic. And then you rededicate yourself to becoming that man again, but stronger, wiser, deeper. You get back in the gym, and not to impress, but to discipline yourself. You sharpen your mind, not to escape, but to evolve. You ground your emotions, not to suppress them, but to channel them into power. The Stoics said, a man is not disturbed by events, but by his view of them. Detach not because you hate her, detach because you respect yourself more than the chaos. Or 3, burn the illusion of who you wanted her to be. Sometimes the hardest part of detachment isn't letting go of her. It's letting go of the idea of her. The woman you hoped she'd become. The fantasy you built around her face. You didn't fall for her as she is now. You fell for the version that existed in your imagination. The woman who respected you, supported you, loved you the way you needed. But now you must face reality. That version is gone, or maybe never existed at all. And you cannot heal in a story that was never real. Ancient warriors understood this. They didn't linger in illusions. They saw things as they were, clearly, coldly, fully, and acted with decisiveness. The longer you hold on to what could have been, the longer you delay what can become. 4. Create rituals of closure and power. Detachment isn't passive, it's a discipline. You need rituals that remind you of who you are and what you're returning to. Here's how to start. Write her a letter you'll never send. Say everything. Then burn it. Delete the photos, not out of spite, but out of clarity. She's not the woman you need anymore. Journal every morning. Ask yourself, what am I doing today that honors the man I'm becoming? Spend time in solitude, not loneliness, but sacred silence where your soul speaks. Connect with other men, not to vent, but to rise, to be held accountable, to be reminded you're not alone. Because healing doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in masculine presence. And as you begin to detach, you'll notice something powerful. The weight starts to lift. Your energy returns. Your vision sharpens. And the world starts to feel open again, not because she came back, but because you came back to yourself. 5. Detach, not to prove anything, but to reclaim your peace. Some men detach to get revenge, to make her miss them, to play games. That's not detachment. That's ego. True detachment is silent, doesn't announce itself, It simply reclaims the throne of your inner world. You stop explaining yourself. You stop reacting. You stop waiting for apologies. Because when a woman shows you that she no longer respects you, you don't fight for her love. You fight for your own soul. Drop a comment below. What's one powerful habit or mindset that helped you detach and rediscover your strength? Chapter 4. What happens when you finally walk away? There's a moment, a sacred, unspoken moment, when a man who has been disrespected, doubted, and dismissed by the woman he once loved finally walks away. Not out of hatred, not out of spite, but from a place of deep, grounded peace. And in that moment, everything changes. Because the same man who once begged for crumbs of attention now walks with unshakable silence. The same man who tried to prove his worth now knows his value. This final chapter isn't about her. It's about you. 1. She will feel the shift, and it will confuse her. The moment you withdraw your emotional energy, she'll notice. You won't need to block her. You won't need to announce anything. She'll feel it. In your absence, in your silence, in your stillness. Because respect may be invisible when it's present, but its absence leaves a gaping hole. And suddenly she'll wonder, why isn't he chasing me? Why does he seem free? Did I misjudge him? But you won't be waiting for her realization, because you've already moved beyond needing it. That's the power of walking away like a man. You don't leave to punish, you leave because your spirit refuses to stay small. 2. Your energy begins to heal and expand. There's a freedom that only comes when you stop begging to be loved. You'll notice your energy shifting, the anxiety in your chest, gone, the confusion in your mind, clear, the weight on your shoulders, lifted. You'll start waking up with purpose again, feeling creative, feeling driven, feeling like a man again, because you're no longer bleeding energy into someone who couldn't see you. You're pouring it back into yourself, where it always belonged. You'll realize that you weren't broken. You were just misdirected. 3. You become a man she can no longer access. And this is the paradox she never saw coming. When you were chasing her, tolerating her coldness, sacrificing your dignity, you were easy to ignore. But now, you've become a man she can't reach. Not because you hate her, but because you've leveled up beyond her frequency. Your standards are higher. Your time is sacred. Your love is no longer available to those who can't handle it. This isn't revenge, this is evolution. And here's what most men never realize. The most attractive version of you isn't the one who tries to be perfect for her. It's the one who becomes whole without her. 4. You start attracting what aligns with your true power. As you heal, grow, and reconnect with your masculine energy, something magnetic begins to happen. You start drawing in people, opportunities, and women who respect your presence, not just your attention. Because you're no longer available for disrespect, you've built boundaries that are quiet but firm. You've become a man who leads with purpose, not desperation. And women can feel that, not just in your words but in your silence, not in your gestures but in your energy. You've transformed from a man who needed love to feel whole to a man who is so whole that love now flows to him naturally and without force. This is what happens when you detach. You don't lose, you evolve. 5. You forgive, but you never forget the lesson. You don't hold resentment, you don't wish her harm, you simply remember. You remember how it felt to lose yourself. You remember what disrespect sounds like, how it disguises itself as sarcasm, withdrawal, or indifference. And because you remember, you never go back. That lesson becomes your compass. That pain becomes your power. That detachment becomes your wisdom. And now, you walk with a new kind of quiet confidence, the kind that says, I don't chase, I choose, I don't explain, I move, I don't beg, I attract. Because you are no longer the man she thought you were. You are the man you were always meant to become. drop a comment below. What changed in your life when you finally walked away from a woman who no longer respected you? If this message spoke to your heart, brother, don't let it fade. Like the video, subscribe to the Stoic Golden Tribe, share this with a man who needs to hear it. Your healing journey isn't just yours, it's part of something greater. Stand tall, detach with peace, and never forget, a man who honors himself sets the standard for how the world treats him. Until next time, stay golden, stay stoic, and never settle for less than your worth.